It's been a minute since I've recorded a video. I pre-recorded a few things to put up for the last week or so because I had some family in town and didn't want to be worrying about recording. Although, I did do little B-roll footage of a few of the things that we ended up doing with my family. I do want to start my next episode 3 of the Backlist Reading vlog. I really appreciate everybody's comments and watching those. I'm currently, after having family in town, and I took a couple days off work, so we did stuff and kind of were at the doing things at the speed of a 7-year-old, my nephew. Now I'm exhausted and have had a bit of a health flare today. They left this morning. So I worked a bit and have been kind of resting, taking care of myself. But I did already get my words out. I did already spin the wheel for my 12 and 24 backlist books. And so I'll show you that now and let you know what I'll be reading from that list here. Okay, sorry if you can hear my dryer going in the background, but it's time to pick the 12 and 24 book that I'm going to read for this reading vlog. So let's see what the spinner wheel says, because we've had 2 DNFs so far, so hopefully we'll get a better one. Okay, so as you saw, the spinner wheel pulled up Mercy by Jodi Picoult. This is about a police chief from a small Massachusetts town who has to make a tough arrest of his cousin, who confesses that he killed his terminally ill wife out of mercy. I've read a couple of Jodi Picoult's more recent books. Maybe I've only read one. I've read Wish You Were Here, which I liked. So we'll try that. I will say one of the issues that I was having with the backlist books, I need to make sure that I pick books that I have an audio option for. Some of the backlist books, I feel like I just need an audio book to be on the go, and when I'm trying to read 3 books in a short amount of time, if I don't have one on audio, it's gonna take me longer. It just is. So I kind of went overboard on this one because now I've got all 3 that I've chosen have audiobooks. So I have the audiobook for Mercy. I'm also going to read, this was kind of brought on through reading middle grade March in March, which this is the last week in March, so I may read it, or I think I have one more prompt to go for middle grade March. But I want to read, this is the next book I need to read in the Chronicles of Narnia. This is Prince Caspian, by C.S. Lewis, and I have the audiobook for this. And then I also want to read one of my backlist Book of the Month books. This is The Last Party by MacIntosh. This is At Midnight, One of Them is Dead. By morning, all of them are suspects. So I also can get access to this on audio, so hopefully it will go fast as well. Yeah, so that's how we're going to start the backlist reading vlog. Give a quick update on The Last Party by MacIntosh. I am sorry if you hear my dryer is going in the background. I'm about halfway through, and I started listening to the audiobook, but there were a lot of characters introduced, and we're basically following two detectives, one from England jurisdiction and one from Wales, that knew each other previously and are now investigating this murder together. And the murder happened after a New Year's Eve party, and so all the guests are introduced and their connections to each other. And yeah, so I was getting confused on the audiobook of who was who, so I started reading the physical book, and then I just listened to a little bit more of the audiobook, and I seem to be getting that a little bit better now that I know who's who and how they're connected. I like it okay. It's not like blowing me away with anything. There's, of course, as with any kind of thriller, it's giving suspicion at every single person, or giving a reason and a motive why every person should be suspected. And then, things go from there. Think I may try and finish this weekend. It is Thursday, April 4th, I think. And obviously this reading vlog is taking me a little bit longer than I had planned. I feel like I end up saying that about every reading vlog, and it's mainly because I have like 5 books on the go, 3 buddy reads I'm gonna start. I've overcommitted to reading, overplanned. I've got women's prize books I want to read. There's just a lot of reading I want to get done and very little time to do it in. So I had 5 on the go for just everything in general. The 2, I've started this one and for this vlog, and I've also started Prince Caspian, the Chronicles of Narnia, book 4, that I'm reading for this vlog as well. And I don't have that book right in front of me, actually. I was also reading several other books and decided that that was a bit too many. Feeling a little overwhelmed and not really invested in any of them. Does that ever happen to you where you've got too many books on the go and you're not fully paying attention to any one of them? So I'm kind of trying to, I finished an audiobook. I've got The Last Party and Prince Caspian on audio. Prince Caspian on audio is doing really well because, I don't know, I kind of like listening to the Chronicles of Narnia on audio. The narration's really good. I'll update on that tomorrow probably. And then I'm just gonna focus on this book, The Last Party, and one of the prize books. But I don't have a lot planned this weekend. Tomorrow's Friday. I'm going to get my infusion in the morning. And then I'll be working and I'll see what I get up to. It depends on how tired the infusion makes me. It's kind of hit and miss how bad it knocks me out. So we'll see. And yeah, I'll check back in soon. So I just finished The Last Party by Claire MacIntosh. This is my first Claire MacIntosh book, and I liked it. I felt like the writing style was kind of generic thriller type. There were a lot of characters, a lot of suspects. We're following the story of a singer who is found murdered after a New Year's Eve party at his house. And he made a lot of enemies, as is typical thriller vibes, with a list of suspects. Everybody had a reason to want him dead, kind of thing. And it was fine. It was a little predictable. I mean, I did not predict the final twist, but I definitely feel like the trope is kind of, I don't know, it was fine. I think I mentioned that I started to listen to this on audio. The accent of the narrator was strong, and the list of people was hard to follow, so I ended up reading it physically until I felt like I could get the character straight. And then I listened to the audiobook, and honestly, I listened to the audiobook faster than I typically do, just because I sort of wanted to DNF it, but at the same time, I kind of wanted to see how she was going to finish it off, which is kind of disappointing. I'm always looking for a new thriller writer that I can really enjoy. Don't think I'm going to run to pick up any other Claire MacIntosh books, but I'm glad to have read it. At least I know. The next one I'm going to read for this vlog is Mercy by Jodi Picoult, which is one of my 12 and 24. I do have this on audio, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I've read Jodi Picoult before and liked her. I don't know how I'm going to feel about this one. It's the story of basically a husband who supports his wife in not supports his wife. I don't know if it's supporting, if he supports his wife in like assisted suicide, or just outright kills her without her knowledge, because she's terminally ill. I've mentioned on my channel that I was my mom's caregiver for 5 years. She had a terminal diagnosis, and I have my own chronic health conditions, so this might hit a little too close to home. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And then I still need to update you on the Chronicles of Narnia book. I'm listening to Prince Caspian, which is Chronicle of Narnia book 4 in publication order, I think. I know there's 2 different orders that you can read them. I'm just reading them in how they're numbered in my collection. It's fine too. I really love The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and The Horse and the Boy. I think is the one that I like the most. I really like those, and so this one's just not grabbing me in the same way, which, you know, it's a little disappointing. So I will update you soon on Mercy. Today is, what is today? Today's Saturday, April 6th. And this vlog has been going on for a minute because I'm also reading some other books as well. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We're having a lazy weekend at the house, catching up on laundry and enjoying some outdoor weather. I will say it's really nice outside, but I struggle with allergies in the spring. So I'll go out for a little bit and then have to come in because of the pollen, but maybe I'll take you out while I read a little bit later today. To update you on Mercy by Jodi Picoult. I'm about 40 pages into this, which is only 2 chapters. Jodi, your chapters are too long. I can't remember. So it's interesting because the one, the other book that I read from Jodi Picoult, have I read? I think I've only read one other one. I own a couple of more, but I had gotten one from the library Wish You Were Here, or something like that. That is a more recent book of hers, and I can't remember how long the chapters were, but the book was really engaging, and so I didn't notice how long the chapters were. Maybe that'll tell you how I'm feeling about this one. But first, let me tell you a little bit where we've gotten. So we're introduced basically to two couples. There's Cam and Allie. Cam is the police chief in this town, and Allie is his wife and a local florist. Jamie and Maggie. Jamie killed Maggie, who was terminally ill. And that's not a spoiler, that's on the back of the book. Y'all, I don't want to DNF another book that's on my 12 and 24. I mean, I have no problem if I don't enjoy it, I'm not going to read it. But I'm not DNFing right now. I'm going to try to get to 100 pages. It's late. I'm jumbling my words right now. Basically, I have a couple issues with this book. One, this book was written in 1996, which I recognize is almost 30 years ago. The language, some of the language is outdated. They use the word handicapped instead of disabled, which is unacceptable in 2024. And they also, the relationship between Cam and Allie is sort of a trope that I've read before and do not enjoy it. Cam and Allie went to high school together. Cam was the most popular boy in school, basically, and Allie was not in the same crowd with him, and she kind of loved him from afar, had a crush on him, whatever you want to say. And basically within the first chapter, it's presented that they got married because they were the only two that stayed in the town or came back to the town that they grew up in. And they're just presenting Allie as like a meek woman that would never get this guy any other way than just convenience of her being in the town and being single, I guess. I don't know. I don't enjoy that. I think it devalues the woman in herself. But we'll see. I like Jodi Picoult from what I read of her more recent work, like I said, and so I'm going to kind of take this in stride and see if I can. Sorry, the cat's in my lap. Do you mind? I'm trying to video right now. I'm going to try some more and see. I don't know. I don't know. We'll read a little bit more. I was just getting ready to film kind of a wrap up of this reading vlog, and our power went out. It's been really windy for the last week. And yeah, I think probably a tree fell down somewhere close to us. We have a lot of old trees. I live in kind of an old neighborhood. And just a lot of old trees that every time we have some kind of weather, a tree falls and takes down some power lines. We don't have buried power lines yet. I think they're getting there. But anyway, you don't need to know about our power grid. Suffice to say, I'm doing this in a different location because get some of the natural light because I have no lights. I read 3 books for this reading vlog. And I think I did kind of a wrap up. This is The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis, Prince Caspian, which is book number 4 in my series. I think it's by publication order. I liked this book fine. We have the 4 children from Narnia, Peter, Susan, Edward, and Lucy, who they're heading off to boarding school and they're pulled into a magical world of ruins, basically. And then you've got Prince Caspian, who is being raised by his uncle, the king, and his aunt. And he is next in line, but his life becomes endangered and he has to escape and go into hiding. And then as this cover shows, there is a battle scene and Aslan is in this book as well. I liked it okay. It wasn't my favorite. My favorite is still probably The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and the horse and his boy. But it was fine. It was 3 stars. The other one I read from my book of the month shelf was The Last Party by Claire MacIntosh. This was about a man who's a celebrity, and it's a housing complex that he's been involved with building. He is found murdered after a party at his house, and everyone who attended the party plus some extra people are on the suspect list. And so it goes through that crime. It was fine. It wasn't, I didn't really find it very thrillery. And I wasn't necessarily compelled to pick it up. I mean, I did finish it and gave it 3 stars. So again, not great, but not horrible either. We're about to get to the horrible one. So my books 12 and 24, I've been using a spinner wheel to pick them. This month was Mercy by Jodi Picoult. This is about Jamie, who in a mercy act kills his terminally ill wife. And then he goes to his cousin, Cam, who is chief of police, to turn himself in. And Cam is married to a woman named Allie, who she's a local florist. She is sort of I don't even know. I did not like how Allie was portrayed in here. She, Cam was the super popular boy in high school, and Allie had been in love with him from afar, and then they got married from some, I guess, because it was comfortable and they were there at the same time in the town. I got about 100 pages through and I DNF'd it. I don't have time for this. You know, I've got other books that I want to read, and I just didn't like where this story was going. It was I wouldn't say, it was sort of putting this man Cam on a pedestal, and he does come crashing down with his actions in a way, but it really took a it's hard to put to words, but the view of disability, like playing the which would you rather game with disability? Would you rather be quadriplegic, or would you rather be lose your vision or hearing or something like that? Which there is no point to that game. It is not a game. And there is value in a disabled life. I'll just leave it at that. I mean, I knew that it was going to be a little bit tough of a read with what happens with the wife, Maggie, who has a terminal diagnosis and doesn't want to, like, the doctors go over kind of the progression of what's going to happen, and she doesn't want to go through that. And so it's basically assisted suicide. And I just think that I would like to lift up stories that change that narrative, that look at the value of life when capacities change. It's not, I think with my experience with my mom, who went from totally independent, making money that she could live on her own and drive herself wherever she wanted to, all those things. And within a couple of days, she became oxygen dependent. And it was hard. It was a hard adjustment. But there was still value in her life, and there were still great things that happened in her life from that point until she died. And, as someone with a chronic illness, I don't have the energy that I used to have. That doesn't mean that I live a tragic life. I guess that's kind of my spiel on that. I could stay on a soapbox on that topic for a long time, but your life circumstances may change. What you have been able to do in the past might change what you can do currently. But you can evaluate and change kind of your perspective on what is a valuable life. And I feel very strongly about that. And this was not a book that I felt was something I wanted to go into. It also brought in aspects of faith that I just felt were a little bit too dismissive and convenient. With all that said, I am not writing off Jodi Picoult. This book is almost 30 years old, and I can see in the time and place when it was written where these conversations hadn't come as far as we've come now. I mean, there's still ways to go in those conversations, but I really enjoyed one of her more recent books, Wish You Were Here, which specifically dealt with the pandemic. I really enjoyed that book, and I enjoy her writing. It's just these topics and how they were handled in 96 when this was written, I just don't feel the need to go back to that. So I promise, vent over. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. Let me know, did you read any of these books? I did peruse the Goodreads, reviews of Mercy. And it was kind of similar to what my issues were with it. Even, you know, the reviews were really old, of course. I do think, and again, this is only based on 2 books that I've read from Jodi Picoult, but I also follow her on social media. I feel like her writing and her approach to topics has evolved with the times. And, you know, I think I would definitely pick up another Jodi Picoult book. I don't know that I'm gonna rush to pick up. I think I have her debut. I don't know that I'm gonna read it anytime soon. I might kind of do a little research into it and see if it's something that I want to read. But I do have some of her newer books as well. So I look forward to trying those again. Like I said, I enjoyed Jodi Picoult's more recent book, and we'll try her again. So that's it for me. I also am going to acknowledge that that's the 3rd book that I've attempted to read this year from my 12 and 24 list, and my 3rd DNF. I'm okay with that. I am. While I would like and had hoped that they would be more successful reads, I'm a full believer in DNFing, that if you're not vibing with a book, you know, put it down forever or for a time. These have been on my shelves for so long that there's no more forever for these. It's either read it, rate it, move on, or try it, DNF, and unhaul. That's kind of what the prospect I'm doing with that. I am going to take a little bit of a break from the Backlist reading vlogs just for a month or so. This one was kind of not great, you know, 2 3 stars and 1 DNF. I don't want to get into a reading slump. I have a number of library books that I want to read, and other books on my TBR that I'm more interested in. So we're just going to take a little break, but I really appreciate you watching this. And if you have suggestions on reading vlogs that you would like to see from me, please leave them in the comments below. I enjoy doing reading vlogs. I don't want them to take 3 weeks, and that's me on my own issue, because I go for 3 books on my backlist, but then I want to read all these other books too. So I'm trying to rein in my reading plans, I guess. But yeah, I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.